I want to talk about vaporware because that's one way that we can't admit that we get sharded because something could work and you, because it was vaporware, you were like, oh, fuck, I didn't buy it. I'm not saying that you have to buy something and then go up and make money or anything. We're just going to talk about vaporware, what it is, definitional, not whether it's a scam or whether you can get over using vaporware. Me too. That goes for me too. Because I was chiding right now, so that means I have to put things back in perspective because you're not guilty. There was this Sierra Leone man. He took advantage of his villagers because they didn't have access to the outside world, social media, whatever. They did not know what technological advanced military shit looked like. And so this guy was taking regular SUV, putting like cardboard, painting it up, move like make it look metallic. Like he was like, I don't know if it's cardboard, but he was like putting like, I don't know, siding and like cutting the aluminum or whatever and making a welding a box, and painting it, and like he was actually walking around in metal fucking like telling him it was titanium alloy high advanced like shoes, like you can go to the moon, like you could fly around rocket shoes or something. He had like these tubes, PVC pipe or whatever. He had actually like let a fucking hole at the bottom be exposure so that you can light a wick. Like he had bottle rockets in this shit. It was like, so anyways, it was like he was gonna take down a helicopter with 1,000 Martian missiles or a Roman candle. And that, like, because like people didn't know, like they believed him, you know what I mean? But it's like, if you say, where's vaporware come into play, right? His shoes. And because if you use really in battle, you know what I mean? Like it would just be like vaporware, the metal, titanium, steel alloy robot shoes. You're not fast. How are you going to run around in those shoes? It's not important to say that this is logical or ridiculousness, because if you haven't seen anything before, then you might think that his shoes actually pushes out rocket fuel. But it would actually just be smoldering with fucking steam, like, you know what I mean? Like vaporware. Like, it's weird. It's in the logos. It's like there was these things that are successfully, that people, maybe they laugh about it because crypto's going down, or they don't think it's feasible to build out a network for low power internet devices or something. Whatever they don't understand, they market. So it's like they see you installing these antennas and getting helium through a helium router. Vaporware. Helium is like vapor. Where, right? Or they had the glorified, was this a glorified Roku device or something like that they were saying is going to hook up to all these networks, digital networks that maybe have facilitate different platforms and functions, right? Called a Helo port. Helo. I forgot how to. Oh, because Helo port. Right. The way it sounds, you know what I mean? Now, that one might be a scam. It might not, you know what I mean? It might be a rug pull, or it might be a gimmick, or maybe it's just a project that failed, that wasn't trying to be a scam, and and you could say, oh, it was vaporware. It was vaporware? Like, you're supposed to be looking at it like this vaporware might work, like this vaporware might be okay, because then you're gonna get tricked by the talk, by the language, by the linguistics. you know, because you would be like, how, like, not, you know, okay. But what this comes down to ultimately, right, is that you have maybe two different companies, plausible deniability, disavow each other. They don't know. They're both brought on by different contractors, right? They make a thermometer gun. They make one for fancy schmancy people that have to be approached a certain way. Maybe, you know, I mean, maybe, like, maybe they would not put up with so much if they didn't have to because they're rich, okay? So they have this big, like, fancy looking thermometer gun that they point at your wrist. Then you get to the job, right? And it's like, I'm back to flipping burgers or whatever, and you got to come inside and they're like, okay, wellness check. They have this little tiny plastic, cheap looking thermometer gun, okay? So somebody must know what they're doing, because one of them, they put, I mean, the technology, and they had more dispensary funds to develop this, a way to get an accurate reading off your wrist. But the cheaper one is supposed to get an accurate reading off of your head. And your head, more heat's coming out of your head. It has to be your head. It has to get an accurate reading. If it has to be an accurate reading, when you take the cheap one and point it at my wrist, because it's harder to get an accurate reading from the wrist. So if it got an accurate reading from my wrist, then that means the fucking device works in the first place. No. They know what they're doing so well that they put all the resources into the one that's supposed to get an accurate reading when your head's already fucking hot. The one that's able to take an accurate reading off your wrist is the one that's supposed to be more money in, and that's the one, right? Because it, in actuality, not ideally, it gets an accurate reading when there's less heat. It has to be reliable. It has to be reliable, okay? So if you're like my mom and you will argue that the Asian motorist was trying to speed up no, he was trying to come around, and so I sped up to keep him from coming around me because I didn't want to let him pass, right? Even though I remember feeling the sensation that we're slowing down. Her argument is that she sped up because she didn't want to let him pass. But I can get caught up in my words, because I would be like, you know, it's not wrong to let somebody pass. Why didn't you just let him pass? But that's besides the point. The point is that she slowed down so that he would have to move to the side to get around her. Oh, I sped up because I didn't want to let him pass me. And she's able to lie like that. So what about the vaporware? Could it use the same way of lying and saying that I'm arguing for different logic? Because the vaporware works, the product works. You can't say that it's not taking an accurate reading anymore. What's the point? We know that the point is to get you normalized with the idea of pointing a gun-shaped device at somebody's head. Most likely it'd be a younger person than you are, because you would be ideally a manager, somebody who's a little bit older. You know, I was not a manager, but you can't still shard my perspective because I'm entry level and old. It's just that I didn't want to do it. So, because I don't want to grow, like, I don't want to go up, and like, your next thing you're supposed to aspire to be is a manager. Because of the turnover, you can't say, I just want to be the entry level all the time, because they always have these people turning over. They leave, they get enough money to buy a Versace bag, and then they quit. So, you have, like, you have to be thinking on the same level. Like you're asking these 19-year-olds to be an adult, and then you mean like what kind of mental midget, you know what I mean? But I gotta fucking graduate up to that level to where I can aim, put the thing at your head, right? And it's like, oh well, I mean, it's not a gun. I mean, it's not like it is okay. Like you said, it is vaporware, but it works. Like you can't say it doesn't work. Like, but who does it work for? Since it doesn't work for any of us. It works as a thermometer. It takes accurate reading, can tell you that you're not sick. I can have you argue a negative. I could try to get you to prove or disprove a negative. Right? And I know it sounds like I'm just making the argument that that situation was wrong and everything. And I am in a way. But I'm also teaching you about vaporware. Because whoever had to foot the bill, who maybe didn't want to, needs to sue. Because you were coerced into buying fucking vaporware. And that's on you if you don't. Alright? But I'm not gonna fucking graduate up in your ranks. I'm not gonna try. I'm out the door with that. You know what I mean? And I know they talk mad shit. It's just like when I left my sister's apartment because I didn't want to raise my voice, and she came out the hallway, yelled at me. And then now she still refers to me as a loud screaming lunatic. When did I ever get to be a fucking loud screaming lunatic? That's why I blog about you. You know, I could take my shit out into a fucking football field or out into the middle of nowhere where people can't hear. Well, you can hear me in a football field. You out in the middle of nowhere and just rip on anything and everything, including myself, until I get it out my system. You know, and then go back to normal society. You just can't. It's impossible. You can't be insane forever. You can't be You can't be. Look at Job, right? I'll admit I didn't have the big picture. I cursed God. You didn't know how he was cursing God, but they tell it's right there in front of your face, and then they explain it. Like he said, he didn't curse God with his lips. He cursed, but it was in his heart, though. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? It was like when he said, when they said that he didn't curse God with his lips, we're like, oh, Job's awesome then. He didn't curse God with his lips. This is great. Job is on the right track, something like this. You know, I have to figure this out because interested in the part about when they were counting children. You know, he knew where they were. You couldn't say they wasn't dead. He knew where they were. And then God had to account for the children because he could not take them away from Job if it was in a bet. In a bet, then you would have to say, there's some missing accounted for children in your commercials and your shit. Like your commercial, like they wouldn't be, they have to, it's like, it's a trip. I don't know. I have to figure out, there's always another way to kick off the discussion in about Job, because like it is this discussion where these different characters comes into play. People will argue about whether that's allegory or whether that really happened, but though that's besides the fucking point. That's besides the fucking point. When you see the message of what really happened, then you know how this is happening. You know how this is happen. Like I can see this happen. You know, and it's like I could totally see this happen. Like this happened before. I don't want to argue about this. Like I know what they mean now, and I'm happy with the conveyance. Now I'm satisfied with the conveyance, even if I can't make somebody else see what means. Oh, there's some pop-up windows coming on. So, there was something I was gonna call. I was gonna tell this dude. Fuck. Oh fuck. I forget.